Yo, what up, man? Listen, how y'all doing? Last night I was going down the road and, I got stuff in my ears. And it kind of goes on autoplay a lot of times, you know what I'm saying? So just story after story after story comes in. And this is one I came across that I was like, I think we should have a discussion about, right? As a whole. I mean, this deserves a live stream. We'll probably do that at some point, especially me and Dip. Because I'll be honest, this is kind of things that me and him touch on, and I kind of want to wander way outside of the box on this one. And I'm gonna wander way outside of the box as a whole in this video. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's do some intellectual, you know what I'm saying, exploration. This is an article from Chicago Tribune, right? It says a majority of Americans live in suburban areas, but not for long. No, they won't be moving, but the places where they live will cease to be the suburbs. At least that's what a certain fear-mongering president would have them believe. I hate liberals, like, so much. I hate fucking leftists. They're just so worthless. Donald Trump has said that Joe Biden's housing plans would totally destroy the beautiful suburbs on Thursday, the president announced. He was scrapping an Obama-era rule, he said, that would eliminate single-family zoning, bringing who knows into your suburbs so your communities would be unsafe and your housing values would go down. Anyone who has ever glimpsed into the vast tracts outside of our big cities where houses with yards and driveways stretch to the horizon might say, good luck with that. The idea that they will undergo a hideous transformation vastly exaggerates what any future president could accomplish, even if he or she wanted to. But Biden and his party do have reforms in mind that rather than abolish the suburbs, would open them up to more Americans. Biden favors the Obama administration's policy of attaching conditions to federal funds in order to get these states and municipalities to eliminate borders to housing development and expand the supply of housing. Okay, so here's the mentality. And this is something that I legitimately think that this is where we're going to get in this intellectual exploration. Federal funds are used to, you know what I'm saying, maintain roads and bridges and, whatever the case is in local municipalities. Because of the fact that when this country was founded, we paid most of our money to either a local or a state, fund. Well, that switched to the federal fund back in the 1940s, right under FDR. And FDR stood here and enacted enough taxes on United States citizens. Well, 1940s, 1950s, Eisenhower, whatever, right? So they stood here and they switched it up to where instead of you paying your taxes to your state, you're paying your taxes now to the federal government as a whole, right? And they give the money back, and distribute it across the country. But when they do, there's strings attached to it. And where if you don't pass a certain policy, if you don't pass a certain law, if you don't stand here and enact certain actions inside of your state, you don't get this money, right? And I'll be honest with you. I think the states should tell the federal government to go fuck themselves and just raise their goddamn taxes, right? And then, tell the feds, like, you're not going to tax our citizens anymore. Like, lower the taxes on, because, like, the states can do this. The states can stand here and go, yeah, you know what, man? We're not doing that anymore, right? And especially states like mine where, my state is literally a hub for transportation for the entire, East Coast. And you have no choice but to come through us. We should just tax, we should just basically enact tariffs, act like we're our own country, and tell the federal government to go fuck itself. That's what should happen. And that's the reason why all these things are happening, is because the federal government isn't actually passing laws. It's saying that you're not going to get these federal funds. And the states having these local legislatures who are completely reliant upon these federal funds, and who stand here, and if they don't have federal funds, their programs aren't active, and they're kind of like, they make business decisions based on that, and they make money off of these things because, like, they're the only individuals who know they exist. They know that, if they tell the feds to go fuck themselves and we lose these funds, then people in the state will whine. This is what FDR did, right? Back in the day when you had people who knew their county officials, you knew your state officials, you complained to them about, whatever was happening in the farming community or whatever it was, or, whatever was happening in your community, The issue is now when that happens, when that happened in the 1940s, the federal government took over and there was just massive amounts of federal agents all over the place. And people didn't complain because of the fact that the feds were just handing checks directly out to farmers or directly out to citizens. And it literally, you know what I'm saying, undercut the ability of your local community or your local state to be able to handle, you know what I'm saying, your local issues, right? And my problem with this, in the end of the day, right, is this here. This is not a country. Okay? United States is not a country. It's a continent. All right? There's oceans on two sides of this. It is a continent. You can go, oh, what about Mexico and Canada? I feel what you're saying, right? Legitimately, though, this is the vast chunk of the North American continent that we, you know what I mean, call the United States. The reason why I have this map up is because geography dictates culture more than anything else that we have in our entire society, right? Like, for instance, this Southern Californian chunk right here is a massive problem, right? Because it is literally the only Mediterranean climate on the entire continent, right? The rest is right beside it, giant chunk of mountain frontier. The Southwest is all just desert, right? This Texas panhandle, right? This Texas chunk down on the bottom, you know, is nothing but farmland. The upper Midwest and the lower Midwest is nothing but farmland. The Ozarks are a chunk of high elevation lakes and mountains, right? The Gulf Coast and a bunch of Florida are all swamplands. Appalachians are all mountains. The upper Great Lakes region is basically surrounded by an inland sea, right? The heartland, this is all, you know, I mean, just straight flat farmland as far as the eye can see. I don't know if I've been to all these places, it's kind of the deal, right? You know what I mean? And then you get into the South Atlantic, right? And the South Atlantic is all, you know what I'm saying, like oceanfront, you know what I mean, type of property. It's all sand and pine trees, you know what I mean? And you get into places like Maryland, it's a whole different world, you know what I mean? And then you come up into the New England states, and it's mountainous regions of places where it's legitimately cold for 6 months, 7 months out of the year. It's a whole different animal. These are entirely different people. In 150, 200 years of, you know what I'm saying, like if you let these individuals do what they do, they would break up into chunks, and the cultures that would end up coming out of here would literally end up having different languages be spoken. That's the reality of this in the end of the day. Right? And this is why it's a problem for us to stand here and have us all kind of try to pretend that we're one country, right? Look at this. California banned state travel to Florida and 4 other states, right? And they think they're hurting us by doing this, right? California added 5 more states, including Florida, to the list of places where state-funded travel is banned because of the laws that discriminate against members of the LGBTQ fucking lettuce, gay, bacon, and tomato community, right? Democratic Attorney General Rob Bonta added Florida, Arkansas, Montana, North Dakota, and West Virginia to the list that now has 17 states where state employee travel is forbidden except under limited circumstances. Make no mistake, we're in the midst of an unprecedented wave of bigotry and discrimination in this country. These are just people with a different culture. That's all this is. In the end of the day, right? And I mean, lawmakers in 2016 banned non-essential travel to the state with laws that discriminates against lesbian, gay, bacon, and tomato people. The 12 other states on this list are Texas, Alabama, Idaho, Iowa, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. We're not a country. Legitimately. We are not a country. We're a continent. And I'll be honest with you, I think we need to separate and go our separate ways. At least for a little while. Because this isn't working anymore. Like, it does not work anymore for any of us. We need to redraw this map. Legitimately, like, holding all this together as one giant conglomerate only does well for a very limited amount of individuals in this country. They've stripped out the middle class. They've put all the money into the coastal cities and, you know what I'm saying, where it says Tidewater, that's where DC is, right? Into the places of power. And they protect it with a giant military, staffed with individuals who come from the middle of the country. This is complete and utter garbage, and it no longer works. We need to break apart and start over again. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. I don't think I'm wrong, but it's a possibility. You'll know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Share this out. Get us out to as many individuals as possible if you kind of agree with this mentality. Peace.